Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining. Today I'm showing you something nice. I'm showing you how to remix 21 Savage. Check this out. Let's listen first.
Shit, take a nigga bitch. Nigga use a bitch cause I ran off with your shit. I'm a real right blood and these nigga counterfeit. You don't pull up on the L, pussy boy, you get dipped. I bought a brand new drop and then I put me up some drop. Y'all said real street nigga, y'all ain't on no block. Bitch, keep your legs close, cause all I want is talk. I pull up and y'all gon' call the cops.
Dripment.
I just bought a pistol, it got 30 rounds in it. Pull up at your mama house and put some rounds in it. So we got some rounds. 100 round drums and a nigga down with it. I'm on this lot of gun shit, lot of gun shit, lot of it's a knife.
Guns up, I don't give a fuck. I'm a big dog, little nigga, you a pup. Pull up at your spot, walk up on it, shoot it up. Your bitch, she on the molly,
All right. Yo, that's just how we get down. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to show you how I made this drop first, then everything else. Let's just get into it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to get into some serum basses and song arrangement, mixing, mastering. We're going to go over this whole thing here. And if you want to listen to the whole thing, that'll be in the description. So we'll start with these patches in the lows group. That's where all the beef is at. Oof. So this is the main thing. If I minimize everything, you'll see the lows is what we're in. And I have the sub with the mid basses together. So we're actually using the Hall method, and it's cool because we're just using a little G clip, pumping it 5.8 decibels of gain, with 100%, zero softness, 2 times oversample on. This is basically squishing the sub and the basses together to get that crunchy sound. Listen to what it sounds like without it. Basic boy, but then tough boy. The sub is the most important part. And if you see here, we turned it down -5 because when we pumped it up, the sub was too loud. So we had to turn it down to kind of mix it in and make sure it's not overpowering. The sub is the Dripment sub, just a sine wave, boosted with saturators. Then we do huge mid cuts like here to clean up the sub. And then we do a little pass, add some erosions at the end of this. This is the Hull sub in my video. These just add the top white noise. So this sub is just a straight knocker right away. And then we're going to combine these with these basses. This is the main bass here. If you listen, it's like filtered out at the beginning. So for the song, I use this auto filter and automated the on and off as well as the frequency so that we can have it just filter up, and then we'll open it fully when it drops. This is a minimal EQ here, pumping highs and then removing harsh frequencies. Main. This is the Dripment Hall Bass High version. The whole video will show these presets in depth if you want to go over every knob, nook and cranny. It sounds like this. The majority of this sound is coming from this vocoder here. Like completely. Noise, vocoder, using the formants to pitch it down, -10.2. The depth goes up. This is just adding more clarity, attack, release, 40 bands, adding more clarity as well. Then we have this easy clean. I use a reduce ambience, OTT. This is Camel Crushers on British Clean. This is just saturation. You can add a regular saturator if you want, if you don't have Camel Crusher. And then this EQ8 cutting at a 120, doing a little boosty over here, doing a little dip right here. This is a nice way to clean up some of the mud. If you see here, we're really taking out the mud with another EQ. Really only letting these high frequencies play from 370 up. Then we clip the sound at 0, so it doesn't get too loud. And then we have the reverb. Off, on. This is parallel processing reverb. So you have the hybrid reverb, convolver, gun setting. Just use this convolution IR, convo, short decay. One version is dry, other version is the reverb, and we like blend in the reverb with it. So it's turned up -15, and then dry and wet 71%. Then we have a Fletcher Munson at the end. Really just remove a little bit more harsh frequencies. Scales at 22% there. Combine that with the sub. Now, the other basses are creating like an offbeat chug almost. Hear that? It's like a loud little... Same thing with this here. It's like really controlling just these little mid frequencies here. Just an extra layer. So this combined with this adds a little bit of flow and movement with the main bass. With this one as well. It's just adding a little bit of body, basically. So this offbeat, listen. This is my bass 6, 1, 4. If you look at the LFO, it's on the level, going up 100%. The oscillator A wavetable's on amber. This is from the Live 10 wavetables. See here in the collection. And then this is just a default saw. You see we changed the way it looks with sync. Sync is turned up 2.75. So the FM from B is also at 31% with wavetable at 177 here on amber. That's like the main sound. We have the filter moving a lot with it. So band notch is on. Cutoffs at 66, going up 12. Frequencies at 80%. It's going down 34 on the LFO. The LFO is on trigger at half rate. The triplet is on. This is our shape. We have LFO 3, adding slight movement with other parameters. So this is just messing with the tone. It's slightly moving up. It's on half rate, so it's a little bit slower on trigger. A little bit slower than this one. So kind of two different movements will create a nice sound that has two different things going on. And we have this on the wavetable at 177 going down -43. On the sync, it's going down -18. Subs on, and you see it, LFO 1's on that level, and all the way up. All we have is the compressor on multiband, gains at 15. Threshold's at -13. And then we have the comb filter adding a cool tone. Cutoff is at 125. Resonance is at 0, going up 37. Comb filter is there, and then that is all except the mix is at 70%. So we just blend that comb filter in. That's turned down, -6.3. Got OTT, EQ, and this vocoder. We're really getting that same sound as before. So that's the original sound that we just created. And then we add this vocoder. You see it's in stereo, making the noise stereo now. Performance are up at 280, depths at 156, bands at 40. Easy clean to make it loud. These EQs are just pumping a little bit of highs and then cutting those lows. Now, this utility rack is using parallel processing. This is really cool. So this one's in mono, and the other one you see is 100 stereo. So this is like creating two signals, mono and stereo, to create it loud and full. That's mono, a stereo together, the full thing. That's without the reverb, and then this is with the reverb. Just like before, parallel processing the reverb. We got the dry signal here, and then we have the reverb right here. It's at -12, blending that reverb in. This EQ is just removing frequencies, blending it in with the other sounds, essentially. Because I want this to be in the background compared to the main, so that's what's going on there. Just the clipping it at 0, 2 times oversampling on, just to add clarity. And then you can just look at the image. Looking nice, wide. It's just for monitoring. This thing's the same thing, you know, just with the vocoder, we change it a little bit. And the EQ, we EQ a lot of the frequencies as well. Cool. So this mid, you can see the vocoder. We kind of took out some of these bands here, these frequencies. And then on this one, it looks a little different. But on this, we're like only letting these ones play, these mid frequencies, instead of the lows and the highs. It's kind of like EQing them. It's really cool. So that's what we're doing there, just to make it sound different. Cool. So those are the majority of the sounds. And when we listen to them soloed, it sounded sick just soloed, right? And keep in mind, look at this pattern that I'm doing. We have quarter note basses, and then we have the sub that's going the full way, and then we'll kind of cut off some of the tails here to add silence. And this is creating rhythm and like bounce, just cutting silence out of the sub in some of these sections. So I'm doing that a lot with the sub. I'm like creating rhythm by, you know, changing the length of the sub. Very important, very fun. And then we can look at the mids here so we can start to see some supporting basses that are going on while these are playing. So while these are playing, I'm just thinking of like offbeats, things on the downbeat. Downbeat is when the kick first comes, and the offbeat is like kick, kick, It's like on the offbeat. So this, for example, is on the offbeat. The 67 bar would be the downbeat, and then the 67.2 would be the offbeat. So usually 0.2, 0.4. So this is adding support in the offbeat. I have other sounds. This audio sample is adding support in some of the offbeat sections. You can hear that now. We have like sounds like this. It's a little like sparkles almost. It's turned down. We have it go full this section and then just like spurt in some other sections. This is just like a preset. For supporting basses, it's cool to get presets, you know. Ghost Hack, amazing. Support them. And then the top one here, it's like a little gun. It was in D sharp, I tuned it. It's -3 pitch. This will just be on the downbeats here. This has reverb, so it's adding space in the mix, like creating depth And you see, it looks like the lows are playing, but if we actually look at the buses in here and we go to the mid, sorry, I'm cutting the lows from all the mids. So anything I put in this mids group is going to have the bass removed so that everything can be clean, so that these lows will dominate that low section. We can look at some other supporting basses that come on later in the phrases. At the beginning, it's simple, and then we just start to progress through the drop and add more sounds so that it sounds cooler. So like in this section, we have little guns, more guns, and then we have little sustain basses like this. You hear lasers and stuff. Like, I love lasers. Those are right here. Little zaps. There'll be vocals, fills constantly. So like listen. So lots of glitches and like percussive fills, zaps, vocals. You need this so that it's not just constant basses. We got to go back and forth between the mix. Not just call and response, but your fills as well are important. So make sure you get those. Okay, cool. And then lastly, you can just look at these drums here. So on the downbeat, you have the ride. Always have a nice, good ride. Get the tops going. It could be as simple as this, or you can get more complex with it. But with the ride, we have the drums too. So the snares and the kick here. Cool. So it's pretty cool. So on this snare layer, it was like a kick. So I let the kick play for the first 2 bars of the drop, and then I cut the lows out of the kick with this, so that we only hear the highs play. So listen. Kick without bass. Bass without bass. So I really like the tone of that, and we layer that with this clap. And then this is the kick. It's the Agony Tearout Kick 7, the one I use all the time. On the snares group, this is the post-processing, making it loud with this glue compressor and the multiband compressor. On the kick, we make it loud with this glue compressor, pumping it. Cool. Now in this section, we switch up the basses, so we're more focused on this bass, this new quarter note, and then all these supporting basses will start to layer, and we start to bring in a sustain bass. See the sub when I take out these silences make a huge difference. But if it was only the silences, it would sound different. We had to like go back and forth between the longs and then the ones with the cut off ends with the silence. Now we have this sustain, and then this bass coming in. Just like add rhythm. If you hear this, it starts pitching. Like pitch the bass, pitch bend down, just to have it sound a little different in that section. add a little variation. So this Yoi will show this. This is the Dripment Sustain Mid Boy. This was in a previous video. So we got basic shapes, Monster 8. We're using FM from B to get this tone, 15%, and all passes. FX, we'll get into that soon. Levels on 91% on oscillator A. And it looks like wavetable positions on 182 on Monster 8. The resonance is at 10%. The drive is pumped pretty high at 76% on the all passes. Distortion, diode 2, 100%. Phaser, rate 0.8, depth 28, feed 71, adding some nice tone. Delay is getting us that rhythm tone, 31.3, linked up, feedbacks at 34. Compressors making it loud, multibands turned on, gains at 3, and thresholds at -5. The filters on comb, naturally. Cutoffs at 225, resonance 38, drive 47. And that's just adding a cool robotic tone right at the end. Nice. And then this sound, you see it's not on trigger, so it's able to just keep going. We have an parallel processing, so we have this. This is actually turned off, so you don't have to worry about this. It's only the serum. Just imagine this is gone. Amp is on mono, rock, 100%. OTT is on 100%, 17 decibels, 1000 time. Convolver guns on with 635 decay. Dry and wet's at 68%. Then with this EQ8, removing all the mud, you know, all the mud's here, remove that. Take a big dip in the harsh frequencies as well, so we can blend it in with all the other sounds. So important. Use your EQs. Earlier, I showed you the mono stereo ordeal. This is basically that. And then imager to show how wide it is, LUF meter to show how loud it is, EQ to make sure there's no more lows. Just cut it all. I'm always just cutting the lows. We can have a million EQ8s, just cutting those lows. It's all good. The more the merrier. And then this next bass. So this is the Dripment chopper bass. We have the LFO on the level here. 57% on the FM from B. Ranger minus at 218. It's going up 30. This wavetable's at 128 with Monster 6 this time. Diode 1. Drive is all the way down with LFO going all the way up. We're adding movement and dynamics with this distortion this time. Phasers. Looks like depth's at 66. Frequencies 869. Rates at 0.1. Phasers done. Compressors, multiband gains at 9.2. Thresholds -13. The reverb's on this one. Size at 24% on Hall. Mix is all the way down though with the LFO on the mix, going up 41. And then lastly, the filter is on combs. Cutoff is at 68%. Resonance is going up 19 and drives at 35%. So that's how we get the tone and distortion. Make this LFO shape, little shark fin. Most important thing is this rate. So we're using triplets. So put on trip and put on trig. So 1/4 rate is where I'm at here, and I automate the rate. So I go from 1/4, 1/4 triplet, back to 1/4, back to triplet. So that triplet is really adding that cool rhythm, cool flow. It's used a lot in dubstep, so use your triplets. Super cool. If you see here, we have a gate, just removing some extra noise in the background. We have an amp on parallel. We have the dry turned down, -7. And then the wet, this is the amp on lead at 100%. This is at 0. So I have two different versions to make it really nice and loud. Another gate, EQ8, taking all the mud out. It's at 225 dip, cutting all the mids, 130. We're adding the loud rack. Easy Loud 1 OTT saturator. Then we duplicate that same OTT saturator, EQ8, glue compressor to make it loud. We add another OTT, stereo effects. This is the same thing as earlier, except we're using a Haas effect for the stereo. And then this mid is just a regular signal, which is already mono. So we have a side version and a mono version to make it sound full. And the stereo image, very important. This Haas effect also has a mid-side EQ with the mids turned all the way down. And then only the sides are playing with a little boost. So we could have a nice, clean sound. JST clipping it at 0. And this EQ8, lastly, cutting some mud at 180. Doing some boosted at 2.1. I know that's a lot of numbers and knobs and craziness, but this is the 21 Savage remix. Remember, guys, if you want to remix songs, you got to learn how to warp. You got to learn how to do all that. So I can kind of show you what that entails. So when you get your song,
shit, take a nigga bitch. Nigga use a bitch.
Get your song, right? First thing you want to do is make sure you know what the key it's in. Because if you're writing in G minor, but your remix song is in D minor, it's going to be a huge transition in tonality. So you just got to make sure you have a key that is similar or easy to transition to. So if you look at my notes here, we're in C. So we actually wrote this in C minor to match the song. Now this song, Red Ops by Sunny Digital, what I'll do is I'll get this key finder and I'll drag in the song so you can see what key it's in. It's telling me it's 12B. 12B is E major, or the relative is D flat minor. So you can look up like that. You can also Google it in Google, and it can give you information, but sometimes this is wrong. So you want to, kind of trust the AI to give you the right key. So if this is in D flat minor, we used the note C here. See, we can look up a D flat minor. So D flat minor is actually, it's C sharp minor. So a D flat is actually a C sharp. If this song's in C sharp minor, if you look here, we can get the scale and we can see what the keys are. So if we're in C sharp minor, we have these keys to work in. I chose C, which is right next to C sharp. It's very low, so you're not really able to tell that it's a different note, which is fine.
Shit, take a nigga bitch. Nigga use a bitch, cause I ran off with your shit. I'm a real right blood, and these nigga counterfeit. You don't pull up on the L, pussy boy, you get dealt. I bought a brand new drop, and then I put me up some drop. Y'all said real street nigga, y'all ain't on no block. Bitch, keep your legs close, cause all I want is talk. I pull up and y'all gon' call the cops. 21.
The original song ends and we break it down right there. This song, we had to make sure it's warped and complex at 141. This is how we're able to get it on grid. It's important that the vocals are on the grid of the song. So you put the original BPM of the song here. And then if you do that, it'll link to the top BPM up there. And then when you change it, it'll just change with it. So we got the song, warped it first. We went ahead and picked the section where we wanted it to start. So if you listen to it before, I kind of just picked a section that I liked. I use this tape stop to have it go stop and start.
Take a nigga bitch. Nigga use a bitch, cause I ran off with your shit. I'm a real rock.
And then you see here we played have some melodies. Just extra sounds that are playing with everything.
Pussy pussy, boy, you get killed. I bought a brand new drop and then I put me up some.
Strings. With these, we're using this auto filter to like filter them more high frequencies. That goes back. I'm just adding movement with the strings. You see here, this is G, and we just pitched it down -7 to C. So I'll just be pitching everything to like C.
Bitch, keep your legs closed, 'cause
I have these basses, teasing the basses while it's building, right before the drop.
I just bought a pistol, it got 30 rounds in it. Pull a bitch, I'm on my house and put some rounds in it.
Oof. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for seeing all the goods. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. This is how we make a remix, a 21 Savage remix. It's hard, dubstep, tear out. You guys have a good night. Peace out.